Hi, this is Dr. Ron Kaiser, and this is the final session, kind of the wrap-up session of the Winning in Overtime series on the Growing Older with Enthusiasm podcast. The podcast will remain, but this is the final session in Winning in Overtime. I hope by now you have developed a winner's attitude, and we're going to try and build on that and tell you a little bit about possible next steps for some of you. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce once again Neil Haley, my co-host, and Neil, looking forward to another great conversation this morning.
You know, what I've learned, Dr. Ron, in this process of not just what we've gone through of winning in overtime, but the power of coaching and having an expert by your side is such an important thing. I think that we make a mistake of either not hiring a coach when we need help or not knowing that there is that ability to hire coaches that can guide you through to be ready for any type of thing involving your health, wealth, or basically your mental health or wherever it is. What you provide is your expertise lays right into that winning in overtime process where lots of older adults just don't know where to go next. And they've tried all the resources. So kind of explain what you do.
Well, my coaching program is individually designed. I take a very limited number of individuals and run them through my coaching program because it's not for everybody. That's one of the reasons that we do podcasts and provide other kinds of content. Some people just, will utilize that as a booster shot. Some people recognize how far they have to come, and they may need therapy. They may need personal trainer or something to get them to a particular spot. What I'm focusing on are individuals who see themselves as winners, who've reached overtime, but their winning may not be in their own self-development. So they may have been winners in business and their professional lives and so on, but they have some pain points, some areas to develop that can enable them to feel more confident about winning in overtime. So it's not general, it's very individualized by the individual, but it also requires that the person be able to feel that they are a winner. Sun Tzu, the uh, author of The Art of War, famous Chinese general, talked about the fact that victorious warriors win first and then they go to war, while losing warriors go to war first and essentially then try to figure out how to win. What we want to do is take people with a winning mindset, know that they're going to master this, know that they're going to get through and win. They just haven't fully figured out, just what the path is, and they know that there are areas that they have to improve. And that's the purpose of coaching. It's not therapy, it's a means of guiding a person to maximize their potential so they can win in overtime.
And who would you not hire? If there are other people that do something similar to this, you've lived it. You're winning in overtime big time. You're an executive of a company. That is huge. And, something that you're in the C suite, Dr. Ron, at your age. Okay. So if you want to know how to win in overtime, you're winning.
Yeah, well, I think it's very important to recognize that overtime is a continuation of the game. Game isn't over yet. So overtime is a continuation of it. So while, I'm proud to be in the C-suite, I'm not, the only one who's capable of doing that. There are a lot of people who are sitting on their potential rather than using it. And the big problem with that is not only a problem for the individual, but it's a loss for society because in many cases, we have special skills that have been accumulated over decades that if we share what we do we can help so many other people. That's why I'm committed to my work with Better Age company that's designed to really help older adults improve their health and welfare, health and well-being, so that they can, function as long as they possibly can. And for many people, that's going to be decades beyond the normal retirement age. For many people, it's going to be till 100 or beyond. And that's a long time to not be maximizing your potential and actually, in some cases, declining.
All right. So great points so far. This individualized coaching, the difference is a lot of people do not offer individualized coaching for the expertise level of being a doctor. That is powerful beyond belief. Explain, having someone as expert to work one-on-one, a limited spots, but you're not going to find this many places where you're going to be able to work with somebody who's done one-on-one their entire lives as a psychologist, and now getting in and especially performance-based you've worked in, to now being able to work one-on-one with people in an area of expertise that, Better Age saw was you're the project candidate to be part of that organization, so that you're really going to learn so much about what it is to become older.
Yes, I do want to emphasize the fact that many programs that purport to be individualized really are individualized and totally online for a group, but they will suggest individual kinds of things, and you may be able to have group sessions where you uh, get a chance to ask a question, and maybe 15 other people that hour will ask the question. And that's very legitimate for a certain group of people. What I'm talking about are the people who want to, in essence, take private lessons, because I will be in touch with you one-on-one, and it'll be molded to your schedule, number one. It will be at your pace. And in many ways, it will be done largely based on how you like to interact. So I'm not opposed to working with somebody by phone, online, some combination of that, um, making sure that we recommend things to read or do, but it will be very action oriented based on you. It'll be focused on my non-negotiable for uh, healthy eating, owning your body through things like exercise, meditation, proper sleep, uh, uh, owning your mind in essence by, health, health of the brain, and also social connectedness. And all of those things can bring you down or bring you to defeat if it's a pain point for you.
I'm
For some,
51, Dr. Ron, and I was balanced too much in work, and I changed. So a lot of these people that are CEOs that are retired don't know how to deal with their family life now, don't know how to deal with all these other things. And they were so programmed to only have really one area of their life, which is most of their life. Now they have to enjoy it with a spouse. They have to enjoy it with grandkids. They have to enjoy it with specifically maybe still picking up some side hustle stuff. And it's very hard for them, and health where they might have ignored their health.
yes, and I think it's important to recognize that that's what was appropriate at that time. I'm a firm believer that you're kind of exactly where you want to be at a particular time. And while it may, uh, in retrospect, we all have regrets, and I certainly worked harder and slept too little at certain points in my life. Um, I also have to respect that that helped me to get to where I want to get to. I could have done it a little more efficiently, but I now have to concentrate on the fact that a big part of my life, if I want to be a winner, is to recognize that I'm a primary job. I'm probably the most important job that I have. And It doesn't have to be at the expense of other things. It doesn't have to be at the expense of family or at the expense of other work. I mean, I'm working regularly too. But to be able to learn how to prioritize your own health, your own brain health, your own social connectedness, uh, the way that you eat, all that kind of stuff really enhances where you are at this point if it's done right. And the key thing is for winners, it's never too late. You know, if you fall behind, uh, by a few points in an overtime basketball game, you don't stop if there's 5 minutes left, whatever it may be. The reality is that you make changes, even if, in fact, you've declined in some way, if you've become overweight, if you've become too sedentary, uh, nothing can't be reversed with a commitment to doing so. And that's where I think a coach comes in. I obviously am a little biased. I think based on my experience and some of my philosophies, I think that I can be of greatest help to a lot of people who are in this situation. But again, I only select a very small number of people to work with, and it's based on kind of a conversation that we will have so that if somebody is interested, I will be glad to have a conversation over Zoom, and we can set up a decision-making process to decide whether I'm right for you, whether you're right for me. And just like you have different kinds of coaches in any sport, some of whom are more authoritarian, some of whom are more nice guy types of things. The feel that you have for who you're working with will play a big part toward toward the progress that you're going to make. But of course, in addition to the feel that you have for that person, is this person skillful in being able to help me?
All right. That was a great. We finally have finished the series. We're going to continue the Growing Older with Enthusiasm podcast, but we're going to kind of dive deeper into what your coaching's about, other subjects you're going to discuss in later podcasts. But where's the best place people can find you is Dr. Ron Kaiser everywhere. Find
Yeah.
you. Make sure you follow the Growing Older with Enthusiasm YouTube channel. Really great stuff. And then also look at specifically Growing Older Enthusiasm Facebook group.
Yes,
Appreciate
and
it.
also, if you send me a direct message or an email to one of two email addresses, going to make it real easy on you. One is ron.kaiser, that's Kaiser, at thementalhealthgym.com. And if that gets sounds like a lot of letters to type in there and you make a mistake or two. I know I sometimes get discouraged typing that long address. So my other one is ronkaiser01 at gmail.com. Either one will get to me, and I will respond by offering you a link to setting up a conversation to make sure that we're right for each other, to learn about you, to enroll in the process, and let's get started because you don't want to fall behind if you're in overtime. You want to be able to win right from the opening buzzer of overtime or whatever that sport has, whether it's the extra inning or whatever it may be. You want to be able to do it right from the beginning, even though it's never too late. It's easier if you start out earlier.
All right. That was the Growing Older with Enthusiasm podcast series of Winning in Overtime, guys. Take care.